Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you're watching the Mojo story. The horrific terror attack in Pahalgam, in which 26 tourists were killed. Uh, we've seen those visuals, those images from Pahalgam, those heartbreaking images. But the Baisaran Valley was packed and full of tourists at that point in time, and there were many others who ran here and there and tried to hide themselves from the terrorists. And some of them actually managed to do that and managed to reach to the safety later on when security forces reached that place. Among those group of tourists who were present there and who could manage to escape that horrific terrorist attack is Prasanna Bhat. He joins us from Bangalore. He was with his family there, with his brother, who is who's a soldier, army man, and he also guided them towards safety. He wrote a long, basically, post on the social media describing the entire sequence of events. Let us go across to Prasanna. Prasanna ji, first of all, we're very glad that you are safe and your family is safe and you are back to your state in Karnataka. We know that this terrorist attack lasted for about an hour, and they were targeting tourists one by one. You managed, you were at that point in time present in the Baisaran Valley, but you escaped that terrorist attack. Can you tell us what exactly happened at that point in time?
Sure, sir. Hello, and first and foremost, thank you for having me on the show and talking to me. Um, yeah, I'm based out of Mysuru right now. I'm talking to you from Mysuru, and yeah, we were. I went to. We visited Kashmir. Like I went to Srinagar on 16th. And the plan was like my brother right now is posted. My brother is a senior officer in the Indian Army, and my entire family actually we wanted to visit them. And as a part of this visit, we also wanted to cover a few tourist spots and see the actual beauty of Kashmir. So that was our agenda. What ended up happening was I think we visited Gulmarg first, and saw the beautiful place around Gulmarg, and the next spot of visit was Pahalgam for us. So what we were originally we planned to return back on Tuesday, the 22nd, the same day the fateful incident happened. But because of the bad weather since Friday to Sunday, we said okay, we decided to postpone it by a couple of days, and unfortunately, we happened to also make our plans to visit Pahalgam on the same day on 22nd April. So that's what happened, and thankfully we did not take our parents or my kids. I have two kids, and my brother they have two kids as well. So we decided to leave them at home because it's a rocky terrain. And in fact, my elder daughter, she had already visited that place along with my mother just a week back. So that was another reason we said, okay, it's not a really it will be difficult for us to like manage with the kids. So and my brother actually was on a vacation, so he's posted right now in Kashmir, like I said, and he was on vacation to have to spend some family time with my parents and myself. Along with our family members to be in Srinagar and again to spend that good family time. It was again a big coincidence, and because it was supposed to be a day trip, Pahalgam is about 2.5 hours of a journey from Srinagar, so we decided to keep it like a day long trip. We did not mean to stay there and cover the entire region. So we started from Srinagar at around 9 o'clock, and my brother, since he was on vacation, he was he was visiting as good as a civilian. He was just us visiting that day, and we took our own private car there, and we reached there around 12:30 p.m. I believe around 12:30 p.m. is when we reached Pahalgam town. And as you might have seen in other videos and other articles, the only way to reach the Baisaran Valley from there is via pony rides. Even trekking, I think we could see some people around who were trekking, but the pony guides told us that they were locals and I think they know the route better. So I think
Right.
it may not be safe for like other tourists to actually take the same route. So we ended up taking the pony, hired like 4 ponies for 4 of us. And it took us about 1 hour, almost an hour to reach there. And it was like a pretty very scenic, beautiful ride. I'm sure I think everyone, like a lot of tourists are flocking to Kashmir to see that all those beautiful spots, enjoy that nature, and and just take back some lifetime memories. And for in a way, I think how anyone else would be planning this, but what unfolded was the real terror and a horror there. So we reached there around 1:30 p.m. And then we got to know, again, how do you enter? We just got down and entered through the main gate. There was a person. There were a lot of at the gate. You will find it is again a very muddy terrain. It was, I think, the past 3 days it has rained really badly, or really a lot of rains there. So it is very muddy. So we got down, and I think we managed to enter a narrow gate. So that is, and a lot of ponies were actually tied around the same place. We took the ticket. There was a person who was, giving an entry ticket as well. And we took the ticket and we entered the meadows where it starts.
The
And very, very,
Baisaran Valley from Pahalgam, you went all the way to Baisaran Valley. You didn't make a halt in Pahalgam, but you rather prefer to go to Baisaran.
yes, sir. The actual plan was for us to visit the Baisaran Valley, spend about 2 to 3 hours there and return back by 3 or 4 p.m. And then there are other spots as well. Like there is a Betab Valley, and I think I
Yes.
think they're popularly called as ABC Valley. So
Yes.
we thought, depending on the time and the daylight, we will cover as much as possible and return back to Srinagar by the night was our plan. So that's how we were doing it. Around 1:35 p.m. or about 1:35, 1:40 p.m. is when we entered the gate, and that is the only entrance spot. So the entire meadow has a Baisaran Valley has only one entrance gate through which everyone was entering, and we could see a lot of families already there, a lot of people already on the meadow, and the entire spot is made like a picnic. So you might have seen in the videos already.
Yeah.
There's a zip line, there is a zorbing, there are cafes inside, there is a place for you to take a photo shoot and all of that, right? So naturally people were all scattered, and people were enjoying all of these activities. A lot of kids, a lot of senior people as well. We spoke to a couple of Kannada families who had come from Madikeri, Kodagu region here as well. So we spent about next 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I think 15, 20 minutes we spent to the cafe, because I think we were tired going by the ride. So we said, okay, let's have a cup of tea there and get ourselves refreshed. And we could speak. I think there are a couple of vendors as well who were selling shawls and other art, Kashmiri handicrafts there. So they approached us. We ended up talking to them, and I think we just got about very casually there, and just about how any other person would be doing, there. So at about 2 p.m. we said, okay, let's move on. I think we still have some things to see. Let's take some photos and enjoy the beauty of the nature here. Is how we thought about it, and we were moving in the opposite direction of the entrance, right? We are moving the opposite direction of the entrance gate laterally, and my brother and sister-in-law, they sat on the meadow just to relax themselves and see the beautiful views, and me and my wife, we approached the photo shoot place where you can actually get a photo framed for dressing in a Kashmiri dresses, like a Kashmiri dresses and all of that. So that happened for the next 15-20 minutes. I think we were just doing these sort of other activities. At about 2:20, 2:25 p.m., as far as I can recall, is when the first 2 gunshots went off. Right? It was not a series. It was just about 2 gunshots, very loud, very clear, dhad dhad, right? That's when I think we were just walking by, and I mean, this was out of nowhere, and it was loud. So the first reaction was, okay, something might have happened. Maybe something sort of
Yeah.
exploded somewhere nearby. It wasn't the panic didn't set in at that time,
Right.
right? So we just
Right.
walked around. And these gunshots, we heard it coming from the opposite direction towards the other direction where the entrance gate starts.
Yeah. Near the gate.
Near the gate is where we heard this. And then but we still got, we still were aware, and we sort of, took a stand, as in, we got alerted basically, and we sort of started moving towards a place where I think we could take a cover. And thankfully, there was like a mobile toilet and a wash basin that's installed. It's about maybe 4 feet wide, you can say, 3 or 4 feet wide, covered in a shed. It's not even a concrete building. It's like covered in a shed. So we started approaching that, and my brother had already moved there. I think in the next 2 to 3 minutes itself, I think we started hearing more shots. So
Yeah.
I think we heard a few more gunshots go off.
And that's the
And my
time you
brother-
realize. That's the time that you realize that it's actually firing that's taking place there.
Exactly. So, and my brother was very clear that, hey, these are gunshots. This is coming. These are something. Someone is actually firing. So he immediately recalled, hey, there are no nearby army units deployed here. So there is very less chance of any sort of training firing that might be going on, which I think like a drill that army people conduct as a part of their training to fire. So he said, like, hey, I am aware that there are no such very close army units deployed here that where I think the firing could be going. So this is an attack. This is definitely an attack. But he was also sort of thinking, hey, they generally don't attack terrorists. So this could be something.
Tourists.
They generally don't attack tourists. So this might be something small that could happen now, and they might go away. So let's take a cover, let's hide here, and then I think let's make towards a safe place, right? But then what ended up happening in the next few minutes was, I think the gunshots started, like the firing continued. The firing continued, right? So everyone, and then log ikatte hona shuru ho gaya. We got a crowd there. Almost about 20-25 people started moving towards our area. I think it had become, we are crowded together behind that mobile toilet. We were staying there. And we were just trying to sneak peek as to what's happening on the other side, like the entrance where the shots are being heard. And I could see like 2 dead bodies already lying on the ground. I saw 2 dead bodies lying on the ground, and that was when I think we knew. I think something terrible has already happened here. And at the same time, I could see one terrorist likely approaching towards us. He was marching because the rest of the crowd was all scattered. Now at the time, either everyone was trying to take a cover or everyone was running to some safer spot. Is when I could see a terrorist approaching us. He was covered all in black, the fairan or a gown, right? I think what they were wearing. I couldn't it was still about 300-400 meters. I could see a body approaching us. I couldn't make out their face or how they looked. It wasn't that close, right?
Yeah.
So there was
this terrorist was wearing a fairan. Is not in the army fatigue, the army uniform.
Very difficult for me to say for that, but I could see it was a gown. It wasn't a uniform, general uniform that you could see.
Right.
That's what and it was all covered in black. It was it appeared very black to me. Seeing from about 300 meters. Unfortunately there was a woman, a middle-aged woman who was just beside me. I think she had her maybe her son or one of the kids. I think they brought along with them. She started saying, hey, I think she was separated from them. She was separated from the kid, and she was very worried, what was happening. She wanted to approach them, but we were like, hey, no, I think let's not move around. Let's, take a cover here. This was all happening in the span of very few minutes. And she clearly said, hey, that person is carrying the gun and he's approaching us, right? And immediately we got alerted. And the region where I think we are, and you might have seen the photos as well, the Baisaran Valley, it's a meadow, and on the side, and the complete region is fenced on one side, right?
Yeah.
So it was very hard for anyone to also escape. Either you sort of just lie down, or there is no other way. You have to climb that fence, right?
There's only one gate, that's the entry, and that's the exit.
Exactly. Exactly, right. So, and what we could see at the time the gunshots went off, most people rushed towards the gate. We could see like clearly everyone started,
Yeah.
because I think that's your natural reaction, right? Like, hey,
Yeah,
we had
and
come
we
there.
read it from the post, your post, that while you were saying that most of the people were running towards the gate, you managed to go in an opposite direction. That's why
Exactly.
your brother guided you, because he is a soldier, so he guided you that it's better that you move in the opposite direction. There are more chances of safety when moving in the opposite direction.
Exactly. Yeah. So we said like let's keep away from that spot, and most of the firing was happening in the same place. And we said, okay, let's approach. My brother started saying, hey guys, I think let's try to move down. And there's a fence there. Thankfully, a few meters away, we could find like a very small opening. It was barely like 3 or 4 inches long. I think it could be this much bigger for anyone who's lean enough to sort of slide through that, right? So, and that's what we did. We just laid on the ground, slid through it, and then we came out of that, meadow, the region itself. Um, and yeah, my brother started saying, hey, I think we should, let's move away from this place. And we started, like, everyone started sliding through and started going around. And maybe I think people around the other places also I could see, started to take this route and coming outside of it. And we started running down. We started from that point in time. I think apart from that one region, the rest, everything on the four sides, you will see like a forest or the pine tree forest and the hilly region, right? So when we started like, running down laterally, there was a water stream. It was a completely muddy and rocky area, very difficult for, families. They were falling, they were, trying to, manage themselves, but still everyone was sort of, I think everyone is just in a shock. Everyone was just in a shock. They were not sure. I'm pretty sure like a lot of families were separated from their family members as well. So they were still hesitant whether we should be running for cover or whether we should wait and probably reach out to them to seek out help and all of that. We could see like kids who were mothers and kids, like, carrying themselves or holding themselves and, falling down on that, muddy
Yeah.
patch. But running down, I think people started, I think it was more than 30, 40 people, I think, who had started like taking that route. And that's what happened. And all this while, the next 15 minutes, the gunshots were, we kept
The
hearing gunshots.
firing was continuing all the
The
time.
firing was continuing. We could continue to hear the fire shots. And during that time, that 5-10 minutes, I think, where we were running around, we could also hear the gunshots go off from the place where we escaped from.
Okay.
Not a lot of shots, but I think maybe 5 to 8 shots or 10 shots, I think, approximately coming from this direction. So we were even more scared. Hey, maybe we are not sure. We are just running heads down. I think whether we are not sure, like if someone was actually trying to chase us or locate the other tourists as well. So we started even running even faster, right? So more people started approaching that, and so what we ended up doing was, as we ran, like maybe 200 meters, 300 meters, I think we had covered down that spot. My brother, because he's an Indian Army officer, he wanted to start. He was the only person in that entire region, I think, who was not panicking, right? He was all the while thinking, how do we save? How do we come out of this situation? And I think his instincts, sort of his army training instincts, kicked in. He knew, I think, the best thing for us to do was to alert, like, get the communication out, get the police and army alerted at this point, right? So we, four of us actually then took a detour. So we said, like, he was insisting people like not to run. Hey, don't gather in groups or run in groups. That becomes, you become like, it's easy for, like the people, the terrorists to target us. So please get scattered and keep maintaining some distance. But for us to, the four of us as a family, what we did, like my brother said, like after like that 300 meters, hey guys, let's not go in the groups. We don't know what there could be. And we ended up taking we ended up hiding in a spot, a small gorge or a pit kind of a place, which was like a few meters underneath, so it was not out of sight. And we did not have a clear sight after this point, right? The moment I think we entered that slope, we ran about few 100 400 meters down the lane, we did not have the spot. We could only hear gunshots going off around this time. We couldn't like witness what was happening in the meadow or anything of that. We were completely blindsided, and at that point the only reaction unfortunately was for us to like save our lives or pray for our lives at that point, which I think which everyone I think probably was doing, but I feel bad. I think we felt very helpless that we are not able to like offer any help to others at that point, right? But the best thing I think my brother did, and one more thing to note was there was no mobile network at this point, right? There is no mobile network coverage in the Baisaran Valley. Very feeble, right? So most of our networks were off, no internet there, etc. But the moment I think we four of us, I think we took a head out. My brother immediately looked for his phone to see how, whom can be alerted, and thankfully I think he got like that one feeble signal through which he made a call to. He had the number of the nearest commander or the CO from the army unit there, posted in Pahalgam. So he immediately reached out to them and informed them, hey, there is a terror attack. We have seen like a lot of gunshots, maybe 40-50 gunshots by then go out already, and we could see like a few dead bodies already, like a few of the fatalities already on the ground. So this is a pretty serious situation. Please send backup, right? So he also made another call to another officer based out of Srinagar headquarters, who is based in the commanding commanding zone or the headquarters there in Srinagar as well, to say that hey, I think this has unfolded, and there is a terrorist attack here. I think we need to please inform your respective personnel and send backup, right? So that's how communication went out. He started messaging as well. But the rest, I think that was the best I think we could do. And
But
thankfully we had.
then when did the security teams reach there? You got a sense that now you are safe. Actually, the security teams have reached there. The area has now been taken care of. The terrorists have fled from the spot. When did that happen?
Yeah. So, like I said, I think the gunshots started, like the event started at around 2:25, 2:30 p.m. It went on about until 3 p.m. Around 3:35 p.m. is when for about 30-40 minutes the firing was continuously happening, right? So, as much as I recall, that was the last gunshot we heard at about 3:35 p.m., right? And for the next 1 hour, we were just in the hideout, like that, almost 1 hour, 2:45 to 3:45 p.m. I think we were in the hideout, just praying to see and nothing happens right around this time. At around 3:45 p.m. Around that time, 3:45, 3:50 p.m. is when we heard the choppers come out, like the helicopters. We could started hearing them approaching us, and it was more than 2 or 3 helicopters I think started ranging. We could hear the sound. And we knew, I think we are getting help around this time, right? So around 3:40, 3:45 p.m. is when I think we started to hear that sound, and we figured, okay, I think situation probably we should get control in some time. But we weren't sure yet, right? And about 3:50, 3:55 p.m. is when we could spot some soldiers already climbing up the hill, and we could make out from their from their uniforms how they're dressed. And they could also spot us. They were swarming the hill, right? I think we could see multiple soldiers, 10, 15 soldiers swarming the hill. They were all climbing up in our direction towards Baisaran Valley, and they spotted us. And one of the soldiers was like, "Hey, are you guys tourists?" And I think they could make out. And my brother immediately identified that, "Hey, I'm an army officer as well, and I think we are here. I was the one to also to inform you of the situation." And they said, okay, we have now covered the entire region. I think the entire perimeter is secured by army, or at least the entrance from where I think we approach to Baisaran Valley, that has been covered. You can start moving down. So that's when we kind of had a huge sigh of relief. I think it was a really big relief for our family to think that, okay, now I think at least it wasn't it wasn't that easy as well. I think it was still, we were still looking to see, okay, are there people terrorists out there in the hill? Could someone spot us? So because we were still in that shock, we were still in that same zone of a terrorized or a fear zone of what could unfold, what could happen there. But that's when, as we approached, there were a lot of soldiers, police people who were approaching towards the same direction. That gave us some confidence as well that it's still not isolated. Maybe they are covered. And also, like I said, around 3:35 p.m. is when I think the shooting has stopped. So we figured maybe. Um, uh, the worst thing has already happened, and maybe I think the people who committed those crimes, the terrorists, might have already escaped from the situation. Or that was sort of the. I am not saying I think that's what actually happened, but I'm saying I think those were some of the thoughts that were running through our mind as well.
It's the worst nightmare. We're reading your post that you're also describing the beauty of the place, and at the same time, you're saying that, look, this is what happened there. This is the way that tourists were targeted by the terrorists, and they were, the spot was picked up where there's less mobile network. There's just one entry point. There's no way to escape. You could manage to find a small space beneath the fence from where you could move out, but there's no other place to escape. So that's the way
Absolutely.
that everybody. It was like a trap where
Yeah,
everybody seems to
exactly.
have got trapped there. And you are the lucky ones who could manage to escape and move towards safety, thanks to the instinct of your brother who had the army training, who could sense which direction to move and how to escape from the spot. But there were others who were not so lucky, and
Absolutely.
26 people were gunned down mercilessly by the
Yes.
terrorists. They were killed there. Some of you managed to escape, but uh, as you were describing the situation, the worst experience to have. You go there to enjoy the nature, to spend a day in calm and peace, and this is what happened.
Yes, 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 absolutely, sir. I think it was really terrifying. I think even thinking about it now gives chills, and we did not know like how bad the situation was there. Like after that, after we kind of came out of the valley, we got into our car. But we knew, I think things had moved down. We started hearing the news that I think it has reached to ministers, and Home Minister was Amit Shah was being alerted, and then he was being flight down. But as the day passed, around the evening, I think we got to know, I think how many people, about 8 people were actually dead, and more people were injured. Yeah, it was really hard to fathom. I think on one side, I think we felt lucky that hey, I think our family members, we came out alive. On the other hand, I think it was really saddening to know. I think so it could have been us as well. That
Yeah.
day, honestly, I think a few minutes here and there, it could have been us. I think we really have no words to describe what we felt and how sad we were, how deeply fear, how deeply scared I think we all were, and especially my wife and my
Yeah.
sister-in-law, they were really scared. We didn't alert our parents, and didn't want to disclose the situation to them that immediately. But we're all struck in shock and horror at that time.
It's quite quite obvious the what must have been going through your mind at that time. We're seeing that post that you were thinking of your parents, of your kids, that while you were trying to escape,
Yeah,
it's a nightmare that one could suffer
absolutely,
from.
absolutely. Yeah.
But then finally you managed to reach to the safety, and you communicated with your family there in Srinagar and back home that you are safe.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. Thanks to my brother. Again, I think can't express any more gratitude. I'm pretty sure. I think the at that point in time, first of all, I think I'm pretty sure like not a lot of them would have had that uh, any way to communicate, because you need to have a local SIM in Kashmir to actually work. Your regular mobile phones or SIM cards wouldn't work there. So I'm pretty sure I think that itself is a disability. Not everyone would have had that. So and they don't, I mean, you are a tourist, so you don't even know like whom to call, how do you reach out to emergency, at that time, whom to contact to. So thankfully my brother was there, so he knew whom to contact. He knew how, how to act in this kind of an emergency. So I'm pretty sure I think this was probably the first hand information that went to army unit. And this coming from a senior officer, it was very trustworthy as well for them to act immediately.
Yeah.
So all of that, I feel definitely helped the situation to sort of get the help and get backup as soon as possible to the valley, to sort of prevent more damage happening there.
Yeah. Prasanna, but thanks so much for joining us today, for sharing your thoughts. We are glad that you are safe and your family is safe, but we can imagine the experience that you went through. It was a horrific terrorist attack in which so many people lost their lives. They just come to Kashmir to enjoy their day, to enjoy the beauty of that place. But this is what they encountered there. Thanks so much for joining us and for sharing your thoughts. And thanks to our viewers for watching the Mojo story. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me. Namaste.